Clean water is our basic human right. And when we live in the richest country in the world, this problem is easy to solve. It is not difficult. It is not complicated. The only reason why it may seem that way is because we allow people to make it complicated for us.
My name is Katie Tomberlin, and I'm from Carteret County. This is Community Rising, Shoreside's environmental stories, broadcasting from the Working Narrative Studio. Coming up next are stories from coastal North Carolina.
On the evening of July 22nd, the facility Chemours notified the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority of a possibly toxic sediment spill into the Cape Fear River. In this episode, I talk with Emily Donovan, the co-founder of Clean Cape Fear, about that spill and what you need to know if you live in a county that relies on the river for drinking water.
The local utilities downstream of Chemours received a notification middle of last week that Chemours thought that some sediment had spilled into the Cape Fear River, and they thought the sediment could potentially be highly toxic. What we're trying to figure out, and what is still unclear, is was the sediment toxic? How toxic was it? And what will it mean for the quality of the drinking water downstream? Chemours is located on the Bladen-Cumberland County line. It sits about 80 miles upstream along the Cape Fear River from the Wilmington area. And so that the counties that are impacted are Pender, New Hanover, and Brunswick County. These are the downstream communities that rely on the Cape Fear River as their primary source of drinking water, and they receive their water directly below the Chemours facility. So when Chemours dumps into the river, it then flows down to the intake pipe that these three counties use. So the concern at the time is that we know that these PFASs, these are PFAS chemicals, also known as forever chemicals because of their durability in the environment, the fact that they never break down and there's no proven safe disposal method. And we know that these chemicals are linked to at least 2 cancers and several other severe illnesses and diseases. Another concern is that there are many scientists who are starting to sound the alarm during this time of COVID that PFAS impact the immune system in a negative way, and that has also been well documented through research studies. We know our immune system's needed to create antibodies, and in a time of this pandemic, that's incredibly important for our body to be able to do. So we have these 3 county areas that could potentially see elevated levels of these toxic chemicals in their water system, and they can't be filtered out right now because no utility is finalized or finished their treatment upgrade. So we are just kind of sitting ducks. And the concern additionally for that is the way testing works is the utilities and DEQ, they have to send these samples off to the labs and they don't get the results back for at least a week or 2. So we would never know until after we're drinking it or we're bathing in it. So the ability to protect yourself becomes doubly difficult. So to my knowledge, if you live in Pender County, you want to find out, not everyone who lives in Pender County gets their water from the Cape Fear River. The first thing is, check the number on your water bill, call that number, the customer service line, and ask, where do I get my water from? I'm not aware of if Pender County offers any sort of water alternative filling stations. So it really does become the burden of the resident to invest in some sort of either filtration system in their home, and that could be like a point of use filter, an under sink filter, or they can do 5 gallons of refillable water. Definitely don't necessarily recommend just bottled water because bottled water is less regulated than utility water. And so it's kind of a gamble. For New Hanover County, Wilmington area residents, definitely call CFPUA, or whoever is your service provider on your water bill, same situation. Now, PUA offers 2 filling stations for free. So anyone in the county can drive to either Ogden Park or Veterans Park and they can refill any jugs that they want for free. But the caveat there is that these filling stations are really inconvenient, especially in our impoverished communities. That's a tremendous burden to drive so far out of your way. And we're talking about kind of the downtown Wilmington area and the midtown area. That's a lot of going out of your way. But I will say they're the only utility that is offering free filling stations in the area, because Brunswick County, like Pender, to my knowledge, is not offering any sort of free filling stations for any residents. It would be great to see the utilities step up and try and provide filling stations in more equitable locations throughout communities, or even nonprofits that could be working to get this. And as much as I say that, there's always the caveat of we shouldn't have to do that, and no utility should really be having to provide that. Chemours should be providing it. And the only way to get Chemours to provide it is if we can get our state to intervene. And what we really need is for DEQ to intervene and force Chemours to provide these filling stations in a massive amount of public locations.
You've been listening to Community Rising, Shoreside's Environmental Stories. This podcast is a special project of Shoreside's and Working Narratives. Do you have a story from our coast that you would like to share? Contact us at info@shoresides.org. Thank you for listening.